Hello, I want to introduce you to my business partner, Pete McDowell.
Thanks, Peg. And this is Peg Buehrle.
And we are very excited to bring you a wonderful session today on goal setting. Pete and I have been working with each other for the last 17 years.
We're business coaches. We help people grow their businesses, and we help teams and managers within businesses.
And the reality of it is, why we find this so important is when we're working with clients, Pete, isn't it interesting the difference of when a person has a plan and what they can accomplish versus if they're just trying to go out there and respond and react to what comes to them?
Well, in the process of creating a plan, it gives you some confidence, and it actually takes a little pressure off you once you have a plan.
Absolutely. So what you're going to get today during our session is you're going to walk away with some deliverables. One is you're going to have to look inward to see, hey, is this what I really want in life? What do I want? That's one of them, right? What else, Pete?
Well, our process is really taking a vision, long-term vision of where you want to be, creating goals from that vision, and then creating a plan to execute those goals and actually putting it into action.
And what's wonderful about our session today is we're going to make it a very easy step-by-step process. We're going to guide you through every step of the way. And you know what? You're going to discover some things about yourself you never even realized. And at the end, you should have a plan that you're ready to execute, that you buy into, that you're going to achieve a lot more than you thought you would have at the beginning.
Perfect.
Do you think we've summed it up?
I think we have.
Should we get started?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so hold on. We're going to get started. And the first thing we want you to do is you're going to see in your workbook a pie chart. Now this pie chart is already filled out as an example for you. Now Pete, tell us a little bit about the pie chart.
Now that pie chart is a representation of an individual's various facets of their life. So yours will be different than theirs. You may have a spot there for family. Myself, I have 3 adult children, so I have relationships with all 3 of them. They live in 3 different cities, so we do different things together. So your segment of family may be different than mine or Peg's, but you might have some things on there such as hobbies, where you may have a couple of hobbies and they're different than ours, and that's all okay. Or spiritual, intellectual, your family, your business relationships, all the big segments of your life, we want you to identify what those are for you.
And the reason we're starting here is as we're going through life, we all have different hats we have to play, right? Sometimes we're going to be a mom or a dad. Sometimes we're a student. Sometimes we're a parent or a sibling. And then there's other parts of our lives that we really want to make sure we concentrate and don't ignore so we don't have, as we call, a flat tire, which might be your health and fitness or your financial.
If you picture that wheel, if one of those things is not in great shape, you're going to have some issues.
Absolutely.
Opportunities for improvement.
So the first piece of exercise we're going to do right now, go to your workbook and start making your wheel your own. So what that means, as Pete was explaining before, is start writing in what's important to you. And for example, let's throw out some examples, Pete. So we had one person who, instead of having church and spiritual, they changed spiritual to volunteering.
One of them could be intellectual, so I'm reading certain types of books, say it's history, for example, for me. I want to read one of those every other month. I read some fiction books in between to relax. Hobbies could be hiking or skiing, those things that you love. Some examples for you, like bicycling.
Absolutely. And here's another example, is you'll see hobbies, which you just brought up. So what I did on my wheel is I said, you know what, my hobby is cycling, and I'm going to put that under fitness. So for 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, take this time to figure out what's important in your life and what roles and areas in your wheel you'll have. Well, welcome back. I hope that exercise really opened your eyes to all the things that are in your life. Now here's, I believe, the most exciting part, is you get to grade yourself. So what we want you to do is look at this wheel, and on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, we want you to put a scale of where am I? A 5 would be, you know what, I'm barely there.
It's okay.
Yeah. But I'm not completely, where I want to be. Right. And what would be another example?
Well, 10 would be darn near perfect. So this area of my life is going, I can't imagine it being any better.
Absolutely. So take a moment, 1 minute, and we don't want you to overthink this.
Right.
Don't overthink it. Make it quick and do your scale from 1 to 10. Take a moment to do that now. Welcome back. How was that exercise? Hope that was wonderful. Now, Pete, why don't you take them through what we're going to do next?
Yeah, let's give you an example of one of these pie slices. So a pretty common one is health and fitness. So we all want to feel good. We want to be able to get up and go to work every day and enjoy our family and our friends and our hobbies. So that slice ideally could be, I feel great every day and I enjoy what I do every day. And I know I'm going to be around for my family in the future.
So right now, let's look at your worksheet, and you're going to see, I'm going to explain a little bit about what each one of these are. So you're going to see it says IVVM. Those are initials, stand for what, Pete?
Idealize, visualize, verbalize, and materialize.
Brilliant. So a lot of times what we don't realize is that what is it we really want? And we want it to be ideal. And then we want you to be able to, after this exercise is done, to really visualize it. Then we want you to be able to verbalize it daily. And then guess what? It materializes.
So here's an example. I'm in great physical shape as I work out at least 5 days a week.
Absolutely. So what we want you to do is in the blank, you're going to see a spot and it says category. So in this case, Pete, shall we take health and fitness as an example?
I think it's a great one.
Okay.
Yep.
So put health and fitness in that blank, and then you're going to see 3 lines right below that. And what are those 3 lines for?
Well, those lines would be describing your ideal situation in that category.
Okay, so what happens when we coach people and they try to put in these 3 lines? What might these guys be going through?
Well, sometimes we think about the negative things, like I don't want to get sick, I don't want to end up in the hospital, I don't want to have a heart attack. Well, what we'd like you to do, you can list all those things if you're working on this, and what we want you to do is flip it around and say, what do you want? I want to live long enough to enjoy my children and grandchildren. Mm-hmm. I want to have a great retirement. I want to feel good almost every day of my life. And anything that you think you don't want, try to flip it around until you figure out what you do want. So that's what we want to focus on.
Okay, so that 3 sentences, what we want you to see is that's what you ideally want. So Pete, for an example, can you say it again, what those 3 sentences might look for someone or for yourself for fitness and in health?
Sure. I'm in great physical shape as I enjoy my life every day and know that I'll be around to enjoy my family.
That is so perfect. So that is what we want you to take your worksheet and go through this with each slice of the pie. What this is all doing is it's taking you through a discovery process of what is it that I want out of life so that we can pull some goals there, so that we know what to concentrate on. So once we do that, how do we pull the goals where it says the I ams with the line? Let's talk about that.
Well, and those I ams on there are affirmations. So they're really describing when you've hit your 10 on that category in that wheel, these are describing what that 10 is in some more detail. So it could be things like, if it's health and fitness, mm-hmm. I am someone who goes to the doctor for an annual physical. I take medicine and vitamins as I need to stay in shape. Mm-hmm. I exercise regularly. I am someone who enjoys working out.
So we went through that fairly quickly because guess what? We have gone through this exercise ourselves. Everything we're going to ask you to do, we have done. And I want to take a pause and tell you what happened when we did this. And I'm going to use health and fitness because it's
Absolutely.
A perfect example. So before this was done, I wasn't exercising. My husband and I had 2 young kids, and guess what? I'm coming up with excuse after excuse after excuse because I don't have time. I ended up doing this, and in my goal, I said I am working out 3 times a week. At that time, I was working out 0.
Well, and it actually started with a client of ours who was going through some struggles in business and personally, and Peg challenged this gentleman to work out regularly, and you decided to go running with him, which I went reluctantly, but we started exercising together and actually joined a gym. Absolutely. And it's been a 12-year journey. And
it all started with this one exercise that we're asking you to do. And right now, I'm working out 6 days a week. I'm telling you this, it works. It's just got to be what you want, and you've got to commit to it. And we've got to really get clarity on what you want, and that's what this process is about.
And once again, it's idealize, which means mm-hmm. picturing the ideal situation in that part of your wheel, mm-hmm. verbalizing, it's saying out loud, which is the affirmations, and then visualizing, and then it'll happen for you.
So what we want you to do right now is take a moment in your worksheet and pick a few pieces of that pie that you filled out that you think you would like to concentrate on. So you might have 10 pieces, you might have 15, you might have 7. Remember, that pie is your own. So pick 2 or 3 that you're going to work on and take those sheets. And each pie slice is 1 sheet. And so we want you to break this down. Take some moments now, go to your worksheet, and then come back. Welcome back. I hope that exercise was great. What did you discover? I mean, isn't it amazing when you just take critical thinking time to think about yourself, what you can really attain?
And most people rarely take a look at all those facets of their life and grade themselves on how close they are to their ideal situation in their lives.
Right.
So this is really what the power of it is. And now you have an opportunity to take the ones that are not the 9s and 10s, but the ones that are a little bit lower and the ones you want to improve on, and we're going to set some goals through those.
I have to tell you, Pete, when you were talking, there's one thing that you might be thinking right now, is you might be beating yourself up a bit because you went through this exercise and you say, oh my gosh, I'm so out of shape. Or I did finance as my piece of pie and oh my gosh, I'm so in debt. The goal is not to beat yourself up. Remember, you're starting fresh.
We don't want you to blame yourself. We don't want you to deny that it's a problem in the first place. We don't want you to give excuses for why it hasn't happened. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. What we want you to do is take ownership for the situation, whatever that facet of your life is, and be accountable for the results that you're getting and what the results are that you really want, and be responsible to take the actions you need to take to get where you want to go.
Perfectly said. So as we're guiding you through this process, remember, we want you to say, this is a new start, this is a new day, and I can do this. That's part of what you're going to say to yourself.
Remember the other thing, it's progress, not perfection. So going back to the fitness and health thing, what we want you to do is say, look, I'm going to exercise 1 day a week. If I'm doing 0 or if I'm doing 2, I'm going to do 3. That's all, just progress.
I love that, perfect. All right, so now we've done this exercise where we have ended up having, let's say, 3 or 4 sheets. Some of you might only have 2. Whatever's right for you and whatever pace is right for you is what we want you to do. So you are now going to look at what are some of the goals that I want. What should I be focusing on? And this can be a time period of a year or 90 days. We tend to look at what we want to idealize, which is what we did, and then break it down into chunks of 90 days.
So on that sheet, you have an ideal situation paragraph, then you have some IMs, which are ideal details, right? What we want you to think about now is the gap between those things and where you are actually. And then just figure out which ones of those do I want to close? Which gaps do I want to work on? And then your goal is going to come from that.
So in your worksheet, you're going to see a goal page, and it's going to have a lot of lines. Anybody who's gone through any workshops or if you read anything, you've heard a thing called SMART. What is SMART, Pete?
So for goal setting, it's specific, measurable, achievable, results-oriented, has a time frame attached to it. And if it's not any of one of those things, you might want to think about it until you can figure out how to make it measurable or achievable.
Well, I always like to say, if we don't have a goal that's measurable, how do we know when to celebrate, right?
Right.
So what we want you to do now is in that worksheet, we want you to start thinking about some of those goals that you want to pull from your pie charts. So let's give some examples.
Examples may be, I have family out of town. How often have I visited my sister in the last couple of years? How often have I seen my brother? So you could say, I want to have a great long-term relationship with my brother, and how I'm going to do that, we're going to go do something once a year or twice a year.
It could also
be that simple.
Absolutely, and it could also be, I want to lose 10 pounds. You know what? Everybody always is saying that.
That's a pretty common one.
It could be that. It could be something like, I want to spend more time with my friends.
Or let's say there's a hobby that you used to enjoy 10 years ago, or maybe when the kids were small, and you haven't done it in a long time, and you miss it. You want to get back to it. So what's an incremental step you can take in that direction?
Or it could be, now do you notice as we're giving you examples of all these goals, that they're different segments of that pie chart?
Right.
So here's another one. It could be, I am going to meet with a financial planner to create my financial plan.
I'm going to schedule an annual physical.
Absolutely. It could be that I want to take time for myself and my development, and I want to read more or learn more or go to a seminar. So we want you to take all of these goals and write them down. Now here's the thing, don't worry about how many you have, because we're going to go through a next step. called a prioritization tool, called a force matrix that we're going to take you through. So just write them all down. Figure out what it is that you think would be good to accomplish in the next year to 90 days, depending on your time frame.
So this next step is just to create a list of goals.
And go ahead and do that now. And we're back. How many goals did you have? How many do people usually have, Pete?
Oh, 10 to 15.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of facets of your life, right? And if they're not all perfect, you're hopefully going to have one or two goals in each of those areas where you'd like to do a little better.
True story. And what's wonderful about all the stories we can tell you and the experiences is we've A, gone through them ourselves, or B,
With
our
a client.
clients.
Yes.
So one thing we see is that people feel they can get a lot more done short term than long term. So in other words, I can get 10 goals done in the next 90 days, but I can't get that much done in a year. It's actually the opposite. We really want how many goals to really concentrate on?
3 to 4.
Yes.
And if you have a lot of things, maybe 5. But at work, we generally keep it to 3.
Yes. And
so
sometimes,
if it's an individual, keep it to 3.
or 1 and 2 if it's a big goal. So here's the thing. If you are new to planning, we don't want you to bite off more than you can chew. We want you to see success because this is a habit that we want you to go through consistently. And another thing is when we create our plan and our pie charts, we'll do it with our significant others, our family, maybe your team at work. And you can do it together as a family or a community.
If you share it, you're more likely to get it done.
It creates a lot more fun, and frankly, you get a lot better ideas when you're starting to share what other people are doing.
So now, if you see that forced matrix blank, there's a table in there with numbers on the left, 1 through 10 or 9. Just start writing the titles of your goals in that chart.
This will be in your worksheet, so go to your worksheet and look for forced matrix and take about 2 minutes to do this. And you're back. How was that?
So now you've got them listed on the sheet. Now what? So now what we want you to do is take goal number 1. If you look in the upper left area of that sheet, you can compare the first goal that you wrote down. Let's say it's developing a better relationship with my son is goal number 1, and developing a better relationship with my daughter is number 2. Unfortunately, you've got to choose between those 2 goals. So you circle the one that's most important of those 2. Just put a circle around it and go all the way across to the right and compare goal 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, and so on until you've completed that column going across. The next thing we want you to do is just add up and do that for every row, every goal going all the way down. So 1 to 2, then 1 to 3, and 1 to 4, and so on. And then what we want you to do is add up the number that showed up in each of those categories. And then you'll find out that the ones with the highest level, the highest number, that's the most important goal. So if one of them had 5, that goal is the most important one. And then 4 would be next, and 3, and so on. This is how we prioritize our goals.
And frankly, as you're looking at this forced matrix, this is a great tool to use now. We have our clients using it for what vacation should we take? What restaurant should we go to?
That's it.
What car should we buy? We actually had one client use this tool of what should they name their animal. So this is a tool for you to take for many other things, but we want you to take, sometimes this could take you as long as 10 minutes. So if you want to take 10 minutes or maybe even 5 to 10 minutes to write them all down, do the exercise Pete said, and then come back with your priorities. And welcome back. How did that go?
So now we have a prioritized list of goals, and as Peg said before, we only want 3 to 5, depending on the size of these projects that you're defining for yourself. And once you've done that, we're also going to give you a concept that we call the parking lot. So let's say you're going to pick the top 3 goals, and those are the ones you're going to concentrate on. The rest of those goals, we don't want to toss them. We just want to keep them in a safe place so that you can revisit them in a few months.
So I do want to talk about the parking lot. Pete, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Take some pressure off.
It really does.
Yeah.
So let's say if you're at work, one of the things, if you're a manager, or heck, it doesn't matter whether you're a manager or an owner or an employee, it applies to it all, is when you have a lot to do and you have your plan set for work, have maybe an easel or something that's a whiteboard. And when somebody comes in and says, I have a great idea, you can say, oh, it doesn't fit my plan as I've laid out. It's not my priorities right now, but I'm going to capture it here so that it's visible for you to see and everybody to see. So for this parking lot that Pete just talked about, absolutely make that visible somewhere so that you know you're going to capture it another time.
And our business clients look at those things every 90 days.
Absolutely. So we may revisit this again when you're planning again. Let's get the parking lot out and see if, as we battle the force matrix, if it gets to the top the next time.
So now you've got a list of prioritized goals. They're in order.
And it didn't take that long, did it?
Let's hope not.
Well, I'm hoping that the journey so far has just been a great journey of discovery, and really, I like to say a little fun too. Because if it's not fun, Pete, why do it?
Why?
Right?
Yep.
All right, so now we have this, so we're going to turn to the worksheet again. And what's on that worksheet, Pete?
Well, that worksheet has lines in there where you write in the title of the goal, so the specifics of that goal that you want to achieve. Let's say it's losing 10 pounds. The next step would be to pick some strategies.
And you know what we get as a question all the time? And you're probably looking at this worksheet, and some of you are saying, oh my gosh, what is a goal? What is a strategy? What is an action? I'm getting confused. Pete, what is that?
Well, the difference between goals are relatively simple. So it's something you want to achieve at some point in the future that are specific, measurable, achievable, and results-oriented and time-bound. Once we have that down and you're happy with your goal, and you can always check with a friend or a spouse or someone that's close to you to say, hey, is this reasonable? Once you have that clear, then we want you to think about, well, let's say it's losing the 10 pounds. Strategies could be diet. It could be exercise. Those are a couple of strategies you might use to be able to lose 10 pounds.
So it sounds like the strategies would be a good descriptor of how I'm going to achieve the goal.
It's an overriding set of actions. Within those strategies, let's say the first one is diet. One action I could take, and I've done before, is to record everything I eat.
Right.
If you do that religiously over a course of weeks and months, it's amazing that it gives you a little restraint on eating certain things or a lot of certain things.
I'm going to repeat what you said.
Please.
I want you guys to follow along in that worksheet. So as an example, we're going to use lose 10 pounds. We're going to put that in the goal, correct?
Right.
Then in the strategy, we're going to put improve my diet. And then in the actions, you were saying multiple actions, right? What were they again?
So improving your diet could include recording all your calories. It could, and I do this one, is I'm going to eat salad 3 days a week when I go out to lunch.
And I'll tell you my trick of what I did when I did this is I cut out pop or soda. That's really, either way you say it is going to be right. But just cutting your calories and again, capturing them.
Right.
So looking at your worksheet, you're seeing that you have a goal with multiple strategy spots and multiple actions. You can have other strategies.
So for this example, another strategy for that would be increasing my exercise. And I might have multiple actions there. 1, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week with a friend. 2, I'm going to walk the dog 2 days a week. 3 could be I'm cycling with Peg occasionally.
Which, isn't it interesting, you're doing all of those.
Yes, and I'm trying to keep up.
Yes. So here's where everything comes together, that we really want you to have a document that you can follow, share, and actually, I would really like, don't you think, Pete, to display?
Oh, absolutely. Keep it in your notebook, keep it on your mirror, keep it in your car, wherever it is that you think you might glance at it during the day, and just remind yourself of those things. And the other thing on the actions are who does what by when. So it's specific and it's dates and it's when you're going to do it. So if you say, I'm going to work out more, well, just say, I'm going to the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Absolutely.
Get specific with it.
Absolutely. And so what we want you to do is to take, it could be about 10 minutes, even more, to really take all of your goals from the force matrix, and I say all meaning the top priorities, and then take a sheet per goal to really define how you're going to achieve that and what are the actions you're going to take. So if you look at your worksheet and do that now. Welcome back. How was that process? Pete, we've done this a lot, right?
Oh, it's been going on for years, and these things, when you do it well, it changes your life. It can.
Right.
It really can. We've seen it with our clients. We've seen it with ourselves.
So we wanted to give you some examples of when it's done right, what's happened. Why don't we start with ourselves? So Pete, I love the story about your children and what happened when you decided to do the pie chart, the whole process.
Yeah. So I have 3 adult children. They're living in 3 different cities. David's in Columbus, where I am. Ben is in Portland, and Emily's in Detroit. And we plan things throughout the year, such as ski trips, concerts, UFC fights, funny. Mm-hmm. And we go to cities and enjoy ourselves doing things that we both enjoy.
That all started with Pete saying, I want to spend more time because guess what? My number of a scale of 1 to 10 was pretty low with my children. And guess what? That happens a lot to us because we haven't proactively, with purpose, decided to spend our time in that area.
Yeah, when you go back to the idealization part of it, I want a positive long-term relationship with my kids. And those activities fulfill that goal.
Absolutely. And I'll use me as an example, is I ended up doing the 10 pounds. I think that's why I kept giving you the example, because I just fulfilled that. We just take a little piece at a time. It doesn't have to be 10. It can be 2. It can be 1. Whatever that goal is, we want you to get into the habit of achieving it. So making sure that it's an achievable goal, which is going back to that SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, results-oriented, and time-bound. And then you're going to achieve what you wanted and feel a lot better about yourself. And then we have another person who is a great example.
Well, a couple of our clients have gone through processes where they've created succession plans for their business, and they've saved from the business so that they can retire comfortably. But they started 8 to 10 years ahead of time. When you do that and you do small amounts over a long period of time, it's amazing results.
So, and to your point, we have a lot of people that have, from this process, not had much of a financial plan and or retirement plan, which creates a lot of stress. And that's not where we want you to be. We want you to be more in control of where you want to go. So start here. Say, what can I do to be out of where I am now and where I want to be?
Right.
So we have a couple more steps left until you are completely done. So one is we have created all of your worksheets and you have your goals by now. So I'm just going to circle back of you have your pie chart. You have your sections of each pie chart with your I ams and what is an exact 10. You have your force matrix complete with your priorities of your goals. You've taken those goals and you've put them into these planning sheets into your workbook.
You have strategies and actions for each goal.
Absolutely, and we're missing a very important thing that I would say the majority of all of our clients forget.
A lot of our high achievers don't reward themselves when they achieve a goal.
They don't.
So when you lose that 10 pounds, or when you spend time on a hobby and you have some results from that, or you've got a great relationship with your child, what do you do to celebrate?
So I can tell you what most people do, Pete.
Nothing.
Absolutely. They go, what's my next goal?
And what we really want is for you to give yourself positive reinforcement. If you don't, who will?
Well, it's a very important part of this whole process.
Right.
So as your coaches today, we need to write down your rewards for when you achieve the goals. So why don't we give you some examples?
So you could reward yourself with a nice dinner out with someone you care about. It
Wonderful.
could be as simple as that. It could be a spa day.
It could be a restaurant. Hey, I'm going to go out to a restaurant. I'm going to go eat dinner with my significant other. If it's a really, what we like to say is if it's a really pretty big goal, then make it a big reward.
Bigger reward, right. A new suit or a car.
Absolutely.
Those kind of things.
So we want you to do that. And then we also would like for you to do as actions, when you look at the sheets of paper in your workbook and you have the I ams that we had done as an example for the health and fitness, we'd like you to say that to yourself a couple times a day. They call them affirmations.
I'm in great physical shape as I work out 4 to 5 days a week.
We want you to reinforce yourself with these goals so that you know in your mind that you will achieve them, because guess what? Whether you will or you won't, it's going to be dependent on what you think you can do.
And once a year, revisit this wheel, because some of those segments may change over time.
Absolutely. And at the very end, we're going to make a challenge for you. Is who are you going to tell about what you've gone through so that they help you hold you accountable?
Excellent.
Accountability will be key. And guess what? if they see what you're doing, you might be able to give this gift to them as well. And we want this, if everybody in the world could do just this, everybody would be at a higher level and be getting what they want in life. And that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
Good luck, and you can do it.